Hi everyone, welcome back to Dragon Image. Today I'm here to show you a little bit more about the ceiling track lighting system that we've got here from LightPro. Today we're going to be going through more the particular parts that make up the system, as well as how they go together in order to create this system that we've got above us, so you can kind of see this one here. Okay, so the first thing we're looking at is the track system. So it's a 1.5 meter track. They can connect together to give you a longer length like we have currently in this particular setup up here. And you can remove either end depending on which part you're kind of connecting. On the one side, you've got the power supply. This can't be reversed. So you can't put this power supply on the opposite side because of the way the connections are lined up. So it must be put on this side here. When saying that though, obviously you can mount it in either direction. It just means it's something you have to consider when orientating the lights. The cable that comes out of it is for the mains power supply, which we have here. So this is just a standard kind of DC converter unit. It has a standard jug plug or IEC plug connection on one side, so it can be powered directly into a plug socket. Or in our particular case, we've actually got plugs in our ceiling, so we've been able to mount them inside the ceiling itself, hiding them and keeping it a lot more discreet. On the other end, we've got the female side to the plug here, allowing them to kind of click together. Okay, so mounting the system to the ceiling, so in this particular case, it's a standard kind of chip rock ceiling. There's nothing particularly special about it. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One of the things that we kind of recommend are these little kind of plugs here. These go into the ceiling first, and they give you a nice anchor point to screw in the actual track. The track itself has 3 points for connecting it to the ceiling, giving you a nice handhold. Okay, so let's just say you want to connect multiple tracks. To do this, you need to get little connectors. So you've got little connectors like this. They also come in right angle connectors like you can see up here. So we've actually got 2 sets of tracks, 2 straight followed by a right angle to those particular tracks. And to do that, what you need to do is you need to take off one end, which is a standard kind of Phillips head, and that just slides out. Once you've got that slid out, you can take the connector. And one thing to consider is that each connector has 2 on one side and 1 on the other, and the other, then that relates to the actual track itself. So if you have a look at the track in a close-up, you can see that you have to make sure that they go in the correct way. And once that's in, to lock it off, again, all you do is tighten the Phillips head. This allows you to put multiple tracks together, giving you a much cleaner line and allowing you to have lights on both this side and this side without use of the additional power supply. For the right angle, it kind of works the same way. The only difference is there's a little cover that allows you to change the orientation of the right angle, allowing you to have it going left or right depending on your circumstance. So for instance, in this setup here, we've actually got one going left and one going right, allowing us to have this U-shaped configuration. The next thing we want to talk about is the lights. Okay, so the lights themselves, and I'll just open one up. Are these DT30Bs. These here are specifically designed with this extra kind of mechanism. This part here is the part that clicks onto the actual track itself. You can get these lights for on camera or for a light stand. In this case, they've also got the power supply connection, so that just plugs in, get out of the way, in there, and that will provide power for the light through the track itself. In order to put this on the track, again, we've got 2 on one side and 1 on the other. What this means is if you put it on the wrong direction, so if I went one way and not the other, I'd end up with a situation where it wouldn't be powered. So you'd know straight away. In order to change that over, you just, again, release it by pulling up the safety mechanism, pulling it up and pulling it out. If you find yourself in a situation where you put it on and it's powering, but it's facing the wrong direction, you'll have to loosen up the screw down here, allowing you to change the orientation without affecting the kind of the power supply to the light itself. One thing to keep in mind with these particular lights is that each power supply can only supply power to 5 lights at a time. So that's why this particular setup above us has 10 lights on 2 power supplies. If you want to run more lights, you'd have to include more power supplies, giving you kind of more flexibility in regards to the amount of lights you have, but obviously meaning that you'd have to wire them up a lot, you have to position additional power supplies, and the wiring and so forth makes it a bit more complex. But just keep that in mind when you're looking at installing these type of things, because obviously your total amount of lights is something you should consider when you're looking at positioning, so that you don't make the mistake of accidentally installing not enough power supplies and being limited by the amount of light you can supply. So for instance, in this setup, let's just say we wanted 15 lights, we would have had 2 power supplies on the side and then 1 power supply for this front kind of facing lighting setup here, allowing me to have 5 lights on each one of those tracks. Whereas I have had a person who wants this entire U-shape, but is only running 5 lights total. And so a single power supply will do in that particular situation. But it's one of those things just to kind of keep in mind. Okay, so you've gone to the effort of setting up your lights. The track is up, it's all wired, all the lights are in their correct positions, but you want to be able to control them. Like obviously you can just have them on a switch and go on and off, but that's where this little guy comes in. So with this little guy, I can then control the lights. I can control them individually if I go to the effort of putting them all on separate channels. In this particular case, we've kind of put them on the one channel because we want a more turnkey solution. So if I hold the button, the lights turn off. And if I tap the button, the lights turn back on. If I want to then control the outputs, at the moment you can kind of, I don't know if you can see this, but you can see here it says 99. Then I can control the output by merely holding the button and dimming it down, or holding it to go back up. Then let's say I want to change the color temperature, so I can tap that, and you can see it's currently on 56, which stands for 5600. And what I can do is I can pull that down so it becomes a warmer color temperature, or again, I can lift it up to get it to a cooler temperature. Let's just say I want to change the channel on the remote itself. So on the lights, you can tap and hold the power button, which will take you to the option to control the channel. And then on here, you've kind of got the same thing. So if I hold it, okay, turn it on. Okay, so if you want to change the channel, all you have to do is tap that button down there, and now I can change the channel that it's on. So at the moment it's on 6, so let's just say I put it on 5, and now if I try to hold the button and turn them off, nothing happens. And then go back to here and put it back on to 6, and now I can hold the button, and you can see I now have control of those lights. So there you have it. So if you're interested in a solution system that can be completely clean and off the floor, allowing you to have multiple lights pointing in multiple directions, but as well as having a pre-set up situation where you can just literally walk into a room, hit a switch and turn on some lights, this is a great solution for you. It is a lot more customizable than you've kind of seen here, but we've just got a basic setup to make it easy for anybody to kind of come into a studio, turn on the lights and start shooting. So if you're interested in this product or anything else, visit your local Dragon Image. Thanks.